Tyler Perry was one of the few A-listers who loudly defended Harry and Meghan after the Oprah interview. He gave them a home, a private jet, an exit strategy, and now amid serious allegations, Harry and Meghan have gone silent. Harry once told Anderson Cooper silence is betrayal.
Tyler Perry was once hailed as the man who saved Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, the Hollywood mogul who handed them the keys to his private LA mansion, gave them protection, privacy, and peace. He wasn't just a celebrity offering charity, was a guardian angel in designer shoes. But now, that angel may be sharpening his wings into daggers because the same man who once defended them publicly could now become the one to destroy the very narrative they've spent years building before. We dive in if you're into real talk, unfiltered revelations, and exposing the truth behind the headlines. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We break down the stories others won't touch, and you won't want to miss what's coming next. Let's rewind. When Meghan and Harry fled the UK in the chaos of royal scandal, it wasn't Netflix, Spotify, or ArcUL that caught them. It was Tyler Perry. He offered them a home, security guards, and the anonymity they desperately needed. But he offered something else. Validation. Having Perry in their corner told Hollywood, these two are legit. He was their unofficial fixer, the man behind the scenes pulling strings, making their reinvention from royals to celebrities possible. In return, they offered him something personal. Meghan and Harry named him Godfather to their daughter, Lilibet Diana, or so they claimed. But here's where things get weird. There was no photo, no christening, no palace confirmation, just a passing reference in their Netflix series. For most people, that raised red flags. But now, those flags are on fire because Tyler Perry is facing a $260 million lawsuit over alleged workplace misconduct. It's explosive, high stakes, and reputation-shattering. And when it hit the press, Harry and Meghan did what they do best: vanish. No statement, no support. Just digital silence. Mentions of Perry were quietly deleted, posts edited, photos scrubbed clean. The man who once gave them everything, erased. And that's when the real danger began. Legal insiders now claim there's a clause, buried deep in Perry's NDA, with Sussex's a clause that says if they publicly cut ties or erase his involvement, he's free to speak. And if Perry speaks, it won't be petty. It'll be nuclear. He reportedly has voice memos, emails, recordings from private planning sessions materials that could obliterate the Sussex's carefully curated image. If those recordings reveal what sources suggest, the public will see a different side of Meghan and Harry. Not victims of a cruel institution, but architects of a Hollywood-level rebrand, a narrative rehearsed behind closed doors. Not raw emotion strategy, not unfiltered, truth-packaged sympathy. And that's what really scares them, because Tyler Perry wasn't just a host. He was on the calls, he heard the breakdowns, he gave input on framing their royal exit. He listened to discussions on monetizing trauma, and now, the man who once protected their secrets could be the one turning them into headlines. But that's not the whole story. Asterisk behind the walls of that Beverly Hills mansion, the story wasn't just about sanctuary, it was about strategy. Tyler Perry was there when the Sussexes were drafting pitches for Netflix. He was allegedly present during phone calls with PR teams, streaming execs, even legal advisors. Some insiders claim Perry helped shape the emotional tone of their interviews, coaching them on which angles would hit hardest and when to drop them for maximum impact. And while the public was crying with Meghan over tales of palace cruelty and media bullying, Perry may have known the full picture, one layered with business plans, rollout schedules, and calculated timing. If that narrative gets exposed as rehearsed rather than raw, the entire foundation of their public brand collapses. What's worse, it wouldn't just be a PR crisis, it would be a betrayal. Because Harry and Meghan didn't just present themselves as former royals, they positioned themselves as truth-tellers, victims, voices for the voiceless. Their story wasn't just about celebrity, it was about survival. So imagine the damage if it turns out their Godfather title was a PR tool, used to cement Perry's loyalty and Hollywood credibility. No baptism, no ceremony, no proof, just a convenient name drop in a docu-series. And when Perry needed that loyalty returned, all he got was silence. Tyler's been quiet so far, but his silence speaks volumes, and the industry is listening. Major media outlets are reportedly circling him with multi-million-dollar offers, book deals, interview exclusives, even documentary rights. Everyone wants the receipts, because if Perry breaks his silence, it won't be vague. It'll be meticulous. Emails, voice notes, calendar invites, the kind of proof that can't be brushed off as tabloid lies. And that brings us to the most terrifying possibility: legal fallout. If Tyler Perry reveals anything that contradicts the Sussexes' public statements, especially in their Netflix content, he could trigger investigations into breach of contract, fraudulent representation, even defamation. Netflix and Spotify didn't pay for fiction. They paid for lived experience. If what they got was a performance, that's grounds for major legal consequences. And that might explain Prince Harry's sudden, unannounced return to the UK. No cameras, no press statement, just a discreet departure. Sources suggest he met with royal legal advisors, maybe even palace insiders. Not to patch things up, but to prepare for fallout. Because if Perry lights the match, the royal family might not be the enemy anymore. They might be the only shield left. Meanwhile, Meghan stayed in California, and like clockwork, she began flooding the internet with curated images, wine glasses, lifestyle blogs, dreamy garden pics. It was the same playbook: shift the focus, distract the public, control the narrative, but this time, it's not working. Every new post is met with skepticism. Every photo feels like set design. Because if Perry proves that everything from the Godfather title to the Netflix doc was engineered, then the real betrayal isn't just to the public, it's to the very people who believed in them. And here's the twist: Tyler Perry doesn't need to lie. All he has to do is tell the truth, and that alone could destroy everything. But even that isn't the full picture. The real storm isn't what Tyler Perry, family estrangement were crafted into content emotionally gripping, visually stunning, but ultimately a brand, because for years, Harry and Meghan have walked a tightrope between truth and performance. Two trauma, accused institutions of cruelty, and millions believed them, not because they were celebrities, but because they sounded real, authentic, human. But if Tyler Perry's evidence pulls back the curtain on that narrative, if the realness was scripted, the backlash won't just be public, it will be permanent. This isn't about scandal anymore, it's about legacy, because their story wasn't just a but if the foundation of that story cracks, it doesn't just hurt their image. That betrayal would echo far beyond royal gossip. And then there's the most delicate detail: LIBET. The moment Meghan and Harry announced Tyler Perry as Godfather. But now, people are asking, was it even true? There are no christening photos, no ceremony records. If Perry steps forward and says the title was symbolic at best or worse, never real at all, what does that mean for their daughter's role in the narrative? Friendly reminders to soften their tone. Private conversations are being had behind closed doors. Lifestyle influencers who once praised Meghan's brand are quietly being asked to post uplifting content, and it definitely doesn't forgive when it feels manipulated. Social media has erupted. Hashtags like #TylerKnowsAll, #LILIBET, truth, and #GodfatherGate are trending. Fans are dissecting interviews, combing through timelines, and comparing statements. Logical, because when trust breaks, the conspiracy floodgates open. But the most damning blow might come from Hollywood itself. You see, Meghan and Harry didn't just want freedom. They wanted fame on their own terms. They wanted to build a new kind of stardom: ethical, emotional, enlightened. And for a while, it worked. They inked million-dollar deals, rubbed shoulders with elites, launched projects with big promises, but Hollywood isn't loyal, it's opportunistic. And when your name starts trending for the wrong reasons, even your closest allies start checking the exit sources inside. Sponsors are reconsidering future campaigns, because in a world where authenticity sells, being exposed as a manipulator is the ultimate career killer. And still, Tyler Perry stays silent. He hasn't tweeted, he hasn't posted, he hasn't even hinted. He won't just be giving his side of the story. He could be rewriting theirs. But we're not done yet. Asterisk, and here's where things go from dramatic to downright dangerous for Meghan and Harry. Because airing dirty laundry. He's a billionaire media titan with receipts, rehearsed or downright fictional. Recordings show strategic planning sessions about the Netflix series, discussions about emotional pacing, a genuine expose, and that opens the floodgates for Netflix and other platforms to question whether they were misled. If those contracts were based on truth and transparency, any deviation could be a breach. Millions are on the line. And so is reputation. Even worse, those lawsuits would drag Harry and Meghan's entire brand through discovery, where lawyers can request documents. It would be a public autopsy of their image, dissected on the world stage. And let's not forget the emotional toll. The Sussexes built their empire on being wronged, on pain, rejection, and starting over. That image gave them global sympathy. It made people listen, cut ties, brands run. Not just proof, power, and he knows it. Hollywood whispers say 3 major outlets are in a bidding war for exclusive rights to his side of the story. Evidence that can't be denied. Impact, legal security, and career benefit. He didn't get where he is by being impulsive. He's methodical, strategic, Meghan's team is working overtime to craft a new image, one of a peaceful mom, a serene wife, a woman focused on family and wellness. The comments: where's Tyler? What about Lilibet? Is the Godfather story true? Because when your brand is built on being the voice of truth, running and hiding is the loudest lie of all, this isn't a scandal. All he'll need to do is hit play. One voice memo, one email, one behind-the-scenes clip could shatter years of emotional storytelling. Because in the end, it's not just the media, there's no fixing it. You don't come back from that kind of fall, because when you build an empire on emotion, and that emotion turns out to be engineered, you don't just lose credibility, you lose everything in Tyler Perry. He may be the man who gave them shelter when the palace turned its back,